watch this and listen at the same time. Music to my ancient ears. Hey everyone, Andre here, and the Game Boy Advance NSO app just got updated to version 3.0.0, and it brings with it a few new changes and Easter eggs, or at least an Easter egg that I just showed off, along with a title change. Is now called the Game Boy Advance Nintendo Classics app, which brings it in line with some of the other updates or newer apps like the GameCube one, though not all of them quite yet. We're still waiting on the Game Boy here to join the rest of the family. In any case, there are some other new features here beyond the Easter egg I just showed you, which happens, by the way, if you start up the app while holding the control stick in any direction. It's super easy, just hold the control stick in any direction, and you'll get the classic startup sound, which is great and very true to the original hardware. In fact, it's just as the original hardware worked. Although again, the Game Boy app doesn't have it yet, though I suspect they'll add its own animation once it gets updated to the new title scheme. In any case, there's a couple new other features here. For one, if you're playing in handheld on Nintendo Switch 2, it will now run in 1080p, again in handheld form. Apparently it was running at some lower resolution beforehand. I don't know what that was, but it runs better now in handheld form, at the least on Switch 2, which is great. Furthermore, they added the ability to customize your controls across any game, which is super good news for platforming fans in particular, like me, who grew up, playing a lot of these games on Super NES, and want to be able to use the Y button to run. So check this out. We're going to go into a stage here, and normally the controls are B and A, as that's all the original Game Boy Advance had, besides the shoulder buttons here. And I like to run with Y instead, so to change it, we're going to go into the menu options here, View/Change Controls, go up to Change Controls here, and now we can go right down to Y, and we can change it to B, I guess actually B, I think in this case, yeah, being dash. So there we go, look at that, and now, we want to save that. Also, everything's labeled too, by the way. I don't know if that's all new as well, but that's really useful. If that isn't new, I didn't know about it. But we can now run with B and jump with, or I'm sorry, we can now run with Y. And actually, I should have remapped B at the same time. I'm a total fool. But luckily, with these this new option, we can. So we're gonna change B to BA. A little confusing the way I said this, but am I doing this right? No. Wait, what am I doing here? Okay, there we go. All right. And now this should be what I want, where we have, let's see. Hold on, now I'm scaring myself. Yeah, there we go, all right. I was a little concerned I did it wrong, but we got it right. This feels so perfect. In particular, I grew up with the NES, of course, but I especially loved revisiting the games of Super Mario All-Stars. And since the GBA versions of these games are essentially based on All-Stars, it never felt right not being able to play with the All-Stars controls, with Y being run and B being jump. So this feels fantastic. And of course, you can revisit the entire library with whatever controls you want to now, thanks to this new 3.0.0 update. So there you go, everyone. That's just everything I wanted to show off here. Not a whole lot more else to tell you about, except, if we're doing the Easter egg one more time, because why not? We're going to end it by starting it up in the coolest possible way. Yeah, there we are. Alright, everyone, thank you for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't already somehow, and we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.